come to church regularly. I've been through 4 pastors, so those longtime members, you do the math, but probably about 35 years, I'd say, maybe a little longer. It's when we moved to this side of town. I grew up a farm kid, Hamilton, Missouri. We had multiple purpose. We had hogs. I've done it all, and our church was kind of depending on the weather. If the sun was shining in the summertime, we probably had hay down. We need to get it baled, or need to get a crop in, or a crop harvested. But I went to a church. It was called a Federated Church, and because they didn't have some multi-denominations, they made a multi-denominational church. But I always had church in my life. I went up and got baptized when my sister did, because she wanted to, but she didn't want to go by herself. And so I don't think I really realized what it was till years later that I had accepted Christ and knew I had. I remember when I went to college, I totally fell away from the church except for 2 things. Seems like I'd always find out when Billy Graham was going to have a crusade on TV. The other place that I had touches of Christianity, believe it or not, was as a fraternity boy. And we would do initiations a couple times a week, and very Old Testament based. The ritual was really very strong Old Testament based, and we always did it in a church. And back in those years, the church we did it in most of the time was a Presbyterian church. And interesting enough, my little bride Laura, who will be 40 years this Valentine's Day, and I got married in that same church 40 years ago this Valentine's Day here in Springfield. Talking about journey just beginning, I think God's a tricky fellow, because he kind of keeps us on this journey. We think we've got it figured out, and something hits us. My biggest problem as a Christian has been I'm a control freak. And so my big problem is, how do I turn it over? Whether it's losing a piece of business or you're in competition. I do a lot of civic work. I don't like the split we have with, secular and Christianity. And we as Christians have kind of allowed that to, I think, occur because we need to let people know an expression of faith is a normal thing. It should be an accepted thing, like going and getting a Big Mac or a soda or anything else. And it should be part of life. It should be part of our dialogue, part of our communication. So my journey is just beginning, because we are probably in the worst times in our country with communication and diversity and diversion and everything. And it's a time for God. My name is Kinne, and this is just the beginning of my story.